Welcome back to another analysis here on EURUSD. So EURUSD pumped in towards the highs as we can see over here on Friday due to NFP news. Now, what we saw last time or with tensions in the world, because obviously we all know Iran and Israel currently have some high evolving tensions about attacking each other. The last time we had something similar to this was over here in, let's say, February of 2022 between Ukraine and Russia. You can see some consolidation, but eventually you can see that the dollar prevailed and that EURUSD started pushing down lower. So I still have some confidence that we are going to see lower prices on EURUSD due to the fundamentally bullish driven dollar, and a dollar that is bullish means EURUSD down. So we can still see this pattern with the 1, 2, 3, but it seems to be evolving into, let's say, this ascending wedge, potentially with grabbing liquidity and then reversing in towards the downside. So I'm still looking for further downside on EURUSD, just fundamentally wise, but also structure wise. Remember, guys, we are still bearish from this high in towards this low, but the overall correction is just taking a lot longer than we anticipated. Now, that is the daily. Daily obviously broke all demand zones, or all supply zones, excuse me, over here, creating a demand zone down lower. So do keep that in mind when trading. Now, looking at the 4-hour time frame, the pump in towards the highs was kind of to be anticipated with the 1, 2, and then the third low. So a very clear corrective pattern in towards the downside, grabbing liquidity below this low and then reversing on us in towards the highs. Now, after an overextended move, obviously we expect a potential pullback, at least in towards, let's say, the overall sell-off before that massive buy. So definitely looking for some shorts here on EURUSD. Preferably, we would take out this high and grab the liquidity above it based on what I showed you guys here on the daily, right? Because that overall high is your third high of this ascending structure, okay? So we want to take out that second high and then create a third high and then dump in towards the downside. That would be more powerful, let's put it that way, but we could already start pushing in towards the downside, because if we look at the overall structure, we just purely look at what's happened here on the 4-hour time frame, then obviously the 4-hour, let's say this was the structure bearish in towards downside, we then broke this high, meaning that the internal structure is now bullish, right? Remember, if we zoom out a bit, the overall 4-hour structure is still bearish from this high in towards this low, same as on the daily, right? This is just one big impulse, this is just one big correction, but that correction is now in a bullish state. However, again, still in a bullish state, we can look for shorts as long as it is after the break of structure. So over here we had the break of structure. Here we came in towards the 4-hour supply. This was the fractal high. This was the fractal low. So we've now seen a shift in fractal structure. So let's see how this 4-hour candle closes, and then we could potentially start moving down lower again. There is some demand inside here, but it is not extremely strong in my personal opinion, because it didn't really achieve anything except for breaking this minor area of supply. Now, looking at the 15-minute time frame, obviously the execution time frame, we can see that we have, or that we've gone from bullish to bearish, so similar to the 4-hour fractal structure. So as we can see over here, of course, that push up, consolidation, push up, push down, and now potentially continuation. I'm not really a big fan of taking a short on the first break of structure over here, so I'll at least look for a second break of structure, and then will I only be interested in a short, because otherwise this just could be liquidation to then reverse the move and continue up higher to grab that liquidity, okay? So keep that in mind. If we do break this high, then I will be looking on the 15 to trade it towards that 4-hour liquidity high and that daily liquidity high as well, which I explained earlier. Now, looking at the dollar index itself, obviously massive dumping towards the downside. We're kind of in this old daily area of demand, looking to see if we can get a reversal from here. That is just what I'm looking at. For that to happen, what do we need to see? We need to see a change in character. So we want this high over here to get broken off that bearish candle, and then I'll be looking definitely for further longs back up in towards this buy before the sell, okay? Which is your supply zone. So keep an eye on that. Obviously, not too much involved with the dollar as of now, but just to show you guys again, back in February 2022, what happened was, again, over here, the beginning of a massive rally in towards the highs. That was the tension between Ukraine and Russia. So who knows, the same could happen. We obviously do not yet really know how severe the tensions are or what is going to happen. But yeah, that's something to look on the dollar. Going into Aussie dollar, massive sell-off this morning. actually pretty crazy. Going in towards the 4-hour, what can we see? Well, yeah, I mean, we had a 4-hour BOS, then you kind of see this corrective nature, so you do think we could potentially see a pullback, but then just a massive sell-off. All these pairs in Asia have suffered a bit. If we, for example, look at the Nikkei index, you can see the biggest sell-off in history, guys. This is a massive dump for stocks, like 26% down. It's pretty crazy what's been going on over there, as they have already obviously been awake. But just looking at Aussie dollar for now, I mean, yeah, would you want to trade this? Obviously you do. There has been some liquidity grabbed underneath this low, and now you should look for a reversal to kind of come into play. But again, it's not my favorite pair as of now. These kind of moves, it's so unpredictable what can happen. I mean, it could just keep on falling, to be very honest. So yeah, not too focused on that pair, to be honest. Looking here at the weekly time frame, this is kind of like your weekly area of supply. Obviously, we came from this weekly area of supply over here. We pushed down, we broke kind of like that internal structure. So let's see if we can start going for this low, this low, this low. So a lot of liquidity below these lows, and there is still room for Aussie dollar to fall, which would make sense fundamentally wise. But yeah, that's for that. Then pound dollar, so GBPUSD, go here in towards the 4-hour. Yeah, sold off. Let's just focus on the daily real quick first. So overall, what have we seen? We've seen that the daily is still bearish from this high all the way down in towards this low. So this is just one big impulse down. Then we get that massive kind of like ascending correction over here, this channel. And we're now again in another inner channel with a 1, 2, and a 3. So it is looking good to further sell off. If we look at the overall impulse, because again there is some structure here in play. This was bullish, then it was bearish, and now it was one big impulse again, breaking structure over here. So this you could just view as the correction. Now looking at that correction and drawing it from this low in towards this high, then using the premium versus discount tool, well, you can see that we still have not yet hit that 50% mark, so there is still some room for it to fall. Overall, what we can also see is that the daily area of supply over here is in control, right? So pound dollar still looking for further downside on this pair. Obviously, we are now coming in towards a region of demand, so it's getting a little bit late to short. But if we do see a pullback in towards, for example, this supply zone, you could still look for a potential short. But overall, I'm still favoring just further downside from pound dollar based on the overall daily structure and also on the daily internal structure or fractal structure. And then also on the 4-hour, it is looking like order flow is still bearish, right, guys? So we reacted to this buy before the sell. We sold off from there. So yeah, just follow the overall order flow until we see a real genuine shift. There's a lot of liquidity above these highs. Keep that in mind. But as soon as we kind of like break above, then maybe you could start looking for a long again. But until then, just focus on those shorts. Now going in towards NZDUSD, also a strong sell-off in towards the downside. We actually grabbed liquidity below this liquidity low, and we obviously pop back in towards demand. So therefore, we could see a reversal in towards the upside. Going in and looking at the 4-hour, you can see how perfectly the 50% mark of this overall 4-hour swing leg actually acted as resistance. So very beautiful. For now, what I'll be looking for is just to see if we can get in on any shorts from this zone over here, this area of consolidation. So once we get in towards there, look at the 15-minute time frame and then see if we see any bearish momentum kick in. That will be my game plan personally. Then last of all, gold. What are we seeing on gold? Gold is still a little bit indecisive. I am looking for longs, guys. Obviously, I do expect with all the tension that gold will definitely start pumping again. But yeah, looking at this price action at the moment, it is pretty messy. So I'm just waiting. Yeah, I'm just really genuinely waiting. Looking here at the 15-minute time frame, you can see how perfectly we reacted to this overall buy before the sell. Yeah, we just grabbed the liquidity above this high first and this high. So it's kind of like, again, a 1, 2, and then a third high. And then, again, a very nice drop in towards the downside. I'll be waiting. To be very honest, it's a Monday, guys. Massive news announcements. Some of the biggest that we have seen in the last, let's say, 5 years for sure. So I just want to see what's going to happen to gold. If we start breaking structure, then I'll be interested in those longs. But for now, just sticking on the sideline a bit. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic day, and we'll speak soon.